Hi everyone, welcome to day 3. This is Shirley Joy Weiss. For those of you that don't know me or are just joining in for the first time, and we are on day 3 of the Birth Your Big Vision Challenge. And this is a feminine leadership, spiritual leadership challenge meant to help you birth your vision, to know the leader that you already are, to help you experience your divinity, your perfection, your wisdom, your greatness already right now, and help you realize how ready you are to birth your big vision. And we're going to help you get so much more clarity and wisdom and confidence all around you and your message and everything else. And we've already had 2 amazing days. Thank you for the hearts, beautiful. We've already had 2 amazing days and amazing lessons. And certainly today is going to be no different. So while we wait for a few more people to join, let me just mention what we've learned so far. On the first day of the Birth Your Big Vision Challenge, we learned all about the true role of the leader, and we really looked at some interesting, unique angles to leadership to not only help you hone those qualities, because they're the most quintessential qualities of a leader, but to help you realize that you can already. And as you do, as you start to hone these qualities, it's amazing how quickly you start to transform and feel more confident to get out there. A lot of this challenge is designed to really start working you from the inside out in really unexpected ways, through things that are specifically formulated, specifically designed to go right where it counts and really start to help you let go. Have all those old stories that have been holding you back fall away, so that your true self, who is already confident and clear and knows she's here for a mission, knows she's here to do something great, can really arise to the surface. And we're also going to help you really get a lot more clarity too, right? And then yesterday, what did we learn about yesterday? Yesterday was all about your highest powers as a leader, to not only ignite your mission so you feel really confident, but also magnetize tribe, clients, students. What are the powers that make us most magnetic? And also, what are the powers that makes us be most transformational and impactful for our students, our clients, our work? That's what yesterday was about, and so today is going to be just as juicy. Hello, everyone. Welcome. So definitely feel free to invite your followers and share. Let's get as many people as possible, because today is a really, really important one. Thanks for inviting followers and sharing on Facebook. And today is for those of you that wonder if you're ready to be a leader. Today is, hi Taisha, welcome, beautiful. Today is for those of you that sometimes doubt whether you've been on the path long enough to call yourself a guide or a teacher, or a leader. Today is for those of you who wonder if you have enough wisdom, or if you have enough self-mastery, if you're walking your talk enough, as the title says. And I'm super excited because, oh beautiful, it's so time to let such distortions and illusions stop holding you back. And when you combine today's session with tomorrow's, and you're going to see tomorrow's session is going to be when we finally start getting into strategy around your mission. When you combine today's session with tomorrow's session, where we're going to get into helping you notice how much you actually already know, helping you notice how much you already can craft an entire program around your heart's message. So many of my clients come to me, no, I don't think I'm ready yet. I don't think I know enough. And usually within one session, I help them see just how much they actually already know, and I help them craft entire outlines of programs, and they're astounded. Oh my God, that came out of me, and yes, I am so ready. So that's the point. When you combine today's session with tomorrow's, that's going to help you bring that out of you, that message and program out of you. Oh my God, you're going to see how ready to birth a big vision, an important message, a program you really are. How does that sound? Give me some thumbs up if you like the feel and sound of that. I see lots of hearts. Thank you, everyone. So good. Let's dive in. We've got good number of people in the room. Yes, Taisha, so good to see you, honey. And so today's lesson, as most of you who have been joining so far, you must love witnessing those aha moments. Yes, totally. It's amazing. It's one of the beauties and gifts of my work. Great comment. And so those of you that have been following and are signed up to the challenge, and if you haven't signed up already, you can just go to my bio right here on Periscope, and you can click on the link, and that'll take you. And it's totally free challenge. And so for those of you that have been following the challenge, you know that all the lessons that I'm bringing you through this free challenge are plucked right out of my 6-month feminine leadership launchpad for enlightened businesses called Birth Your Big Vision. And so today's lesson is from the 3rd leadership mastery theme, and we cover a lot of strategy there, but we also cover what I call leadership mastery themes, and these are the gateways to help you embody a true, confident, divinely led, spirit led, wise, conscious, strong, resilient leader that you already are, to really help bring that out of you. And so today's lesson comes from the 3rd leadership mastery theme, which is all about achieving those high states of composure and resilience and self-mastery that you feel you long for in order to feel like, okay, I can call myself a leader now, and those levels of mastery over those bad habits, or there's ability to not be triggered and just remain in your grace and in your center for the majority of the time, so that you know that you're like a walking embodiment of radiance, of love, of conviction, of commitment and possibility that a true leader is. And I'm going to show you how ready you are today. And so we spent a whole month dedicated to that in the Birth Your Big Vision Leadership Launchpad. And the 2 main modules, the 2 main calls associated with this is leading with divine poise, that delicious composure that you long for, so that you don't get thrown off the path in all the ups and downs of the journey. And also having mastery of your habits. Let me read some of these comments. I'm pleased to have caught you live. Seen your ads. Oh, beautiful. Well, welcome. Welcome. What's your name? If you're new here, definitely let me know what your name is and introduce yourself. And then that second call is all about mastery over habits. And this is such an important one because there's such confusion about habits, and there's so many people that are actually affirming bad habits very innocently in their efforts to let go of them, and they judge themselves with so much just needlessly. You end up judging yourself, and you end up actually making yourself feel bad, and it's much easier than you think to break through those habits. Oh, Janie from England, beautiful, lovely to meet you, honey. I'm getting a lot of people from UK lately. I love it. And so you can see how important and juicy today's theme is, because all of us, there's so many of my clients that doubt themselves because they get triggered very easily, and they feel like they just can't remain centered all the time, or they wonder if they're a fraud. I still have these bad habits. Am I a fraud? Can I really call myself a teacher, a healer, and a guide? And so it's really, really, really important, this day's lesson. So definitely tune in. I got some juicy stuff in store for you. And let's just dive in, shall we? And so now, yesterday we spoke about spiritual sight, right? Remember, those of you that saw yesterday's lesson, we spoke about spiritual sight as one of our highest powers as a leader, as a transformational artist that we are. And we spoke about spiritual sight, and we spoke about divine confidence. That confidence that comes from knowing we are already divine, perfect, whole. Right? And so that's what both of those are. Spiritual sight and divine confidence come from knowing we are these beautiful, perfect, divine beings, and we're choosing to view things through a higher lens, right? Spiritual sight is choosing to view things not from a limited lens of fear, doubt, or withhold or insecurity, but through a higher lens of possibility, of wisdom, of love, and seeing the divine in ourselves and in each other, and then walking confidently from that place, knowing we are those. And so we spoke about that, and we learned about choosing, thanks for the hearts, we learned about choosing to see ourselves and others and circumstance through divine eyes, through this higher lens, and coming from here, right? And so today's lesson, which is all about divine poise and habit mastery, begins with this as well, okay? And so it begins with knowing the whole perfect divine beings we already are. You see, we're not learning to be divine. We're not learning to be composed necessarily. We're not learning to be perfect and whole and like flexing some confident muscle. What we're really doing here, as if you're starting to see, is we're actually unlearning. We're unlearning all the things that have just been covering up that radiant, resilient, poised, confident, masterful being we are inside. We just learned tons of habits and ideas and thoughts and self-concepts that are limiting. And we're learning to unlearn those things so that we can unleash the true part of us. It's already magnificent. And what's important about this is not that we're just going to help you have greater self-mastery over triggers and emotions and all those bad habits, as I've alluded to. But what's really exciting about this, and from today's lesson, is that you're going to learn, you're going to see that you don't have to wait to be this quote-unquote perfect, enlightened, constantly, always centered being to launch your mission. Yes, beautifully said. You don't have to wait until everything's perfect and all lined up in you to call yourself a leader, to be out there as a guide, as a teacher, as a coach, or even as a CEO of a company. And today, hello, beautiful Nahal. Thanks for inviting followers, beautiful. And today's lesson is going to really, really help you see that. Really, really help you on that. Remember, this is called Birth Your Big Vision, and it's not about birth your big vision after you develop self-mastery over every habit in the world. This is about birthing your big vision now, because the world needs you now, right? And hello, welcome everyone. And as we begin to see things as they really are, or better yet, as we begin to see ourselves as we really are, when we learn that experience is driven by information and thought moving through us, through the consciousness that we are. When we learn that our feelings and our experience of life is that, not what someone else is doing, or not what the economy is doing, or not what may or may not happen on my launch of my vision. When we start to realize this truth, this inside-out nature truth of life, and when we see ourselves as we really are, already whole, already well. We can all just take a deep breath right now. Let go of any thought going through our head. Let go of anything we were doing, any aspirations for the future, or any thoughts about the past. And we just allow everything to settle. Can you just notice how in this breath, as you drop into your body in this moment, you instantly start feeling sense of well-being. And some of you may feel this more quickly than others, depending on your feeling, to just let go of everything. Come back in and just drop in and relax. But just notice, even in the slightest way, I am well. And I take a deep breath and I'm really present. And part of what I do with my students and my clients is help them tune into that well-being that they already are. A well-being that's just been clouded over by life habits of thinking and rushing and striving and reaching and judging. But when we learn to unlearn all that and start to realize and connect to the part inside that's always there, behind all those thoughts, behind all those energies and experiences and aspirations and expectations and whatever it is, and come back to the moment here and now, we start to touch this idea that we are already perfect and whole and beautiful. Yeah. And we realize it's not just an idea. You literally start to touch it and feel this wellness that I'm talking about. You literally start to experience, this is not just an illusion or something I'm working up for. When I really allow myself to settle and relax and wake up from the illusion of thoughts and dreams and self-concepts that are limiting, I discover wellness. I discover ease. That's the deliciousness of the present moment, right? And as we start to do all this more and more, we naturally, without effort actually, start to develop a greater ability to remain centered and calm and not be triggered by emotions and have that poise of a leader. All those great leaders that you think, oh my God, she's so centered, she's so confident, she's so poised. Well, let me tell you, it's not just about today's lesson. everything that I've kind of been downloading into you for the last couple of days and everything I'm going to download into you for the next few days is going to work in a very uniquely designed way in your consciousness, in your sense of self, that slowly you're going to start moving from this place of knowing. I get the feeling when I feel gratitude, feeling the magic in everything makes your heart smile. Exactly. See, we've all touched that feeling of well-being, and it's not because of the sunset that we're looking at. You know, we think I just feel well because I'm on a mountaintop. No, when you feel really well because you're looking at this amazing horizon, you're just really in the present moment. Notice that when you are in those moments of bliss and ecstasy, whether you're playing with your friends or your beloveds or out in nature, why do you feel so good? It's not because of nature. It's because in that moment you're not all caught up in rushing or striving or thinking about the future or the past. You're in the present moment, right? And in that moment you're just like, the true you rushes to the surface. Exactly. And so this whole challenge is designed to bring you back to this center, but certainly today's lesson. Yes. And I want you to know that this is our journey. This journey of unlearning, this journey of unlearning so that our true being emerges to the surface once again, right? And the very fact that you are on this call, on this recording, on this replay right now, the very fact that you are on this challenge and you're dedicated to this unlearning that is unleashing your greatest self, you know, the very fact that you're dedicated to discovering the true, real, amazing, centered, confident self already inside of you, you know, the very fact that you're dedicated to discovering this in you and leading from here is why you're so ready to already be a leader. This is why you already actually are a leader. Because haven't you noticed that most people don't look in this direction at all? Most people are so caught up in their problems or making the rent or what their partner said or what their boss said. They're not looking in the direction of who they already are, of their beauty, and unlearning whatever's keeping them from knowing it. Most people don't look in this direction. So the very fact that you're so dedicated to this path means you're already 5 steps ahead. And that's all you need to really be a leader and a coach and a healer and a guide already. And it just goes to show why you're a trailblazer. You're the pioneers of consciousness, of being, that are choosing to be the walking angels here on earth, already embodying their divinity, not waiting till you die and you pass on to know the freedom of our unlimited creative nature, but to experience it, to live it in the here and now. So the very fact that you're dedicated to this welcome is why you're already ready to be a leader. Already ready to be a leader. So I want you, before I go into the details and wonderful practices that I'm going to bring you today over this lesson, I want you to just own it and realize, oh my God, I am this. I am constantly curious about my greatness. I know it's there and I'm constantly looking in that direction, not the direction of my problems, the direction of my greatness. And I may not feel it every day. I may some days get hooked by the stories and illusions in my head because I'm human. But I constantly come back and I awaken every day. Because remember, awakening is not something that happens and you reach it and that's it, you're awakening. Awakening is something that happens in the moment every day. It's many moments accumulating. And the fact that you're committed to the awakening journey means you're one step ahead of the majority of the public, of the majority of our planet and why our planet needs you. And so before I dive into the actual lessons and the homework and exercise I'm going to bring you today, just give me a thumbs up if you're vibing with this, if you're ready to finally own it. You know what? Just owning it right here before I get any more information and exercise. That's right. I am a little bit more forward than the rest of the people around me. I am committed to knowing my brilliance. All right, I got one heart. Who else? Who else is ready to just own it? Awesome. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Love it, love it. Yes, yes, yes. Great, awesome. Taisha, Nicole, you guys are. You guys so are. So good, so good. Okay, so let's dive in. Now just like a little background so you get a better feel. I'd say there's no destination because it's an ongoing, incredible journey. You said it, beautiful woman. Yes, yes, yes. So now, during this month that we move through this lesson in Birth Your Big Vision, we really take a deep dive into this great unlearning, and we continue to look in this direction of your true divine nature, and we take a look at the heart of emotions and habits that have clouded your spirit so long, so that you gain greater mastery over your emotions and your ways of being, and you feel that great integrity and poise that you long for, right? And we learn all about how to eliminate emotional triggers such as guilt, shame, blame, and jealousy. And those are such common emotions that I see on the leadership journey and putting yourself out there in the world. Tell me how many of you have not experienced comparison, right? Like you're constantly getting triggered by someone else's. No, they're doing further along the path. They're doing more than I am. You might experience jealousy of their success or doubt over your own ability, or perhaps you're, feeling shame or insecurity because, you did some bad habit last night, some old, self-destructive habit, whatever. We all have our little vices, right? And then you feel guilt and shame and insecurity. So common. It's so common. So we really take a deep dive into these triggers. And also, we get triggered by others, right? We get triggered by others in relationships. We get triggered by others that we might be trying to create collaborations with. This person didn't email me back. This person didn't do what they were going to do. When we're building our team, we might get triggered by our assistants and our team. Why? Because we're humans, right? So we take a really big deep dive into looking at the heart of these triggers so that we can really not only just remain centered in a presence of love through them, but really move through them in a way that brings out the best in everyone and doesn't get us into tailspins of doubt or insecurity or relationship difficulties, and we definitely dive into boundaries. And I want to mention these, even though I'm not going to be able to go into a lot of these today, because I also want to start giving you a clue where to look yourself, because I also go deeply into boundaries in this month with my students, because it's not just about boundaries with others, right? And so that you feel like you're no longer just giving yourself away, and you learn how to, say no, period, end of sentence. That no I heard someone say this, no is a complete sentence sometimes, not only about having boundaries with others, but one of the most important boundaries that no one looks at and talks about is boundaries with ourselves. And so many of us leaders, we so love what we're doing so much. We're so dedicated to bringing about change, to creating change, that we don't have boundaries with ourselves. And especially as an entrepreneur. And then your business becomes a huge sponge. Nihal Carr, the beautiful Nihal on this call right now, she specializes in these amazing powerhouse change makers, so definitely follow her if you vibe with this, who are depleted and exhausted. She's an amazing practitioner of Chinese medicine and Kundalini yoga, and she gives people tips to really be, radiant, right? So throw up some emojis so people can follow you, darling. There you are. Why? But so why are we getting so exhausted? For many reasons, but we get exhausted because we don't have boundaries with ourselves. So it's really important to also create boundaries with yourself so that you're not just giving yourself away to your work. You are just as important as your work. You're welcome, honey. And so we talk about that, and I really give you these beautiful power tools and rituals so that you embody and start to feel that expanded, greater sense of self that is centered and poised all the time, right? That part of you that I alluded to with the breath beforehand. Yes. Sisters empowering each other, that's the way. We're all rising here together, right? And I certainly also teach about, and that's what we're going to get into as well today, we teach about the disastrous mistake that most people in recovery and habit work do, that actually, instead of empowering you to break habits that don't help you feel great, they might even affirm it, and worse, they affirm a really awful, negative, limited sense of self. And so we really deconstruct habits so that you realize not only are you beautiful, you don't have to judge yourself because of habits, but they're actually much easier to break than you think. And we actually are going to get into that today. And so it's so juicy to help you all break through these so that you realize you already have the composure. You can be more composed than you imagine. You are more ready than you can imagine to step out. Hi, beautiful Valerie. Thanks for sharing, honey. And you know, I do want to say, I've said several times already that part of what you're going to learn today, hi honey, is that you already are ready to be a leader. You don't have to wait to be like, oh, enlightened, to get out there with your vision, with your mission, with your world, right? But I will also say that absolutely, when we do step up our game as leaders, when we do say yes to a bigger vision each and every time, yes, we are more ready than you can imagine. Absolutely, sister. So I will say, when we up-level our game, when we are up-level our leadership, when we up-level our reach, every area of our life does have to get up-leveled accordingly. Right? We do. We absolutely do too. So I don't want to deny that either. You know, I'm not just like throwing you out there, just go there as you are, you know? But as you're going to see from today, we can work on uplifting ourselves and still be out there. You know, there's not I'll get out there when I'm up-leveled. It's not an either or, it's not when. I am out there and I continue to up-level every area of our lives. Because this is actually one of the gifts of leadership. This call, leadership is going to make you look at yourself in the mirror and say, what areas are falling through the cracks, sister? You know, where are you still limiting and doubting yourself? Where are you still not treating yourself as the goddess that you are? You know, where are you still falling short of your self-honor and admiration and respect? Where are you still playing small? You know, leadership is going to cause you to have to look in the mirror like that, but that's one of the gifts of leadership. You know, that's one of the gifts of the leadership journey. Yes, individual and collective evolution. Amen. And the more we continue with our individual is the more that we contribute to the collective evolution. But it's totally the ego blocking growth and evolution to say, I'm not going to get out there until I'm evolved. You know, because it's actually by getting out there that you're going to see those beautiful mirrors and where. And so it's a beautiful initiation that every leader must go through. I'm constantly going through it. All the beautiful women out here, there's several that are already way out with their missions in a powerful way, and they're constantly looking at themselves, growing. Yes, exactly. It's this gorgeous initiation. And it's an initiation that may feel a little bumpy in certain moments, but in the end, this initiation, you know what it really does? It tells you, it shows you who you truly are in the end. It's an initiation that helps you remember deeper and deeper, deeper levels inside. Good one. Deeper and deeper levels each side, more and more each day. The divinity you are, the beauty you are. That's the ultimate lesson in all these initiations. It's such a gift. So if anything, get out there, because it's going to also help you evolve in the most radical way. You know, realizing we're not aligned, we're not living aligned with our truth. You know, which will make a lot more sense soon because we're going to get into that. Evolution is active. I love that. I don't know who said that, but I love that, whoever did say that. And, you know, and we continue every step along the way. It was Valerie, of course. I love it. And we begin to align every part of ourselves one step along the way. And it's delicious, and we are to feel grateful for it, not resist it and think we're not ready for it or judge ourselves for it. We are all on this journey. So having to up-level yourself doesn't mean you're bad. So let's take that myth out. Stop judging yourself because there's places where you have to up-level. We're all in this together. It's part of the journey. All right, so again, let's just dive in. I'm not going to be able to go through all those pieces with you today, of course. You know, I do a whole month around this, but I am going to give you even more empowering truths around triggers and habits that are really going to start helping you get on the path and help you get started. Sound good? All right, so let's dive in with triggers. You know, those are the main two things that I want to focus on today: triggers and habits. And so here's the thing. Yes, exactly. Okay, so here's the thing about triggers. There's so much to say about triggers. There's so much to teach about triggers, and I'm not going to be able to get into specific triggers, like when you have triggers from other people, or when you have triggers around results or outcomes, and you have fear arising around results or outcomes, and you put something out there. These are all the different ways we get triggered, right? Or you get triggered because a client leaves, a student leaves. There's so many kinds of triggers on the leadership path. People not responding. So many things. So I don't want to go into the micro version of it. Let's take a step back into like the first level to just look at triggers and the greatest way to give you some of the most empowering wisdom today. And it's going to go along with the theme of what I've been talking about the last couple of days. And so basically it comes down to this. What I want you to get about triggers, no matter which one they are, whether you're feeling fear, doubt, insecurity, judgment, frustration, trepidation, whatever it is, triggers are happening inside of you. Did you notice that? They're happening inside of you. Thanks for inviting followers, beautiful. Triggers are happening inside of you. And like all experience inside of you, it can only 100% of the time, yes, be the result of a thought, of information moving through your consciousness. And information, thoughts, they arise from many different sources. They can arise from the memory banks of your personal mind. They can arise from the collective memory banks and the collective consciousness and you're tuning into it, or the mind of someone else and you're tuning into telepathically. There's so many sources of thoughts, of information. But what I want you to realize is a thought moves through you. It moves through the stage that is your consciousness, and boom, it elicits a response in you. The mind and body, they constantly have to keep each other united. They're one. They're one system. So when the brain processes a thought, it immediately has to get the body on board. And how does it do that? Through feeling, through emotion. What thought is to the brain, emotion, feeling is to the body. So neuroscience has proven to us that feelings are the neurobiological response to thinking. And so if you have a thought moving through you that is a fearful thought, it's going to elicit fearful feeling, because it has to get the body in board, just in case you have to run, just in case, because there might be a saber-toothed tiger, right? And why am I going into the scientific explanation? I mean, if you've listened to, the first couple modules already, you already know where I'm going this. Thought is to the brain, what emotions to the body. Yes, exactly. It's so important to get this, because what this really means about triggers and emotions is that you are only ever 100% of the time ever feeling your thinking. 100% of the time. You are not feeling what the person in front of you said. You are not feeling what may or may not happen on stage when you get out. You are not feeling what may or may not happen with your business launch. You're not feeling anything but your thinking. The thinking moving through you. And whether it arose from you or you picked up from it, you're just feeling your thinking. In other words, simply said, triggers are based in thought. They're not based in fact. Let me say it again. Triggers are based in thought. They're not based in fact. And when you wake up, when you find yourself triggered by something, you can remember, as we said in lesson 1, oh, I'm the dreamer, not the dream. This is just the dream, and I can get caught up in the content of this dream. Oh my God, what might happen on stage? Oh my God, blah, blah, blah. Or I can just wake up to the dreamer that I am. Oh, wait, I'm just feeling fearful because I'm having a whole bunch of thinking that's fearful. And I can just put my attention somewhere else. I can let it go. That's right. It's an illusion. It's not real. It's not based on fact. No matter how real it feels. And it feels really real because of that neurobiological response. So the simplest thing, even if you're having a response to a husband, a brother, a teacher, a mother, a client, and it feels really emotional in nature, they know nothing. The feelings, the thoughts, yes, the feelings, the thoughts know nothing about the person in front of you, the situation in front of you. They're happening inside of you. They're the result of thinking. And you're only ever one thought away from a completely different experience. And so like we said yesterday, you can wake up, oh, I'm in egoic thinking. If I'm in judgment or separation or doubt or insecurity, you're in egoic thinking. And I can wake up, I'm just stuck, I'm just caught up in a dream right now, an egoic dream, and I can wake up to it. And I can choose a higher lens. Remember, we're choosing constantly a higher lens. And so one of the keys to remaining centered is to know you're the dreamer. And sometimes we get caught up in the dream because it feels so real. But we can wake up, I'm the dreamer. Oh, there I was again. Hello, who just joined. Hello, Anita, beautiful. And you can just come back to center. Let me put my attention somewhere else. And I know I've shared this lesson before, but it's that important. And it's such a paradigm shift of living from the outside in to the inside out that I have to repeat this lesson over and over and over again. And so that's the first key about triggers. They're just thoughts. They're not what another's telling you or what's happening outside of you. Now the other thing about triggers that I want you to get is that these thoughts, right? Let's call them thoughts, triggers. They're in you, but they're not yours. They're moving through you. Again, because they're either coming from the store banks of your brain, of your personal mind, or you're picking them up from the collective. And neither are yours. And this is what I mean. Someone challenged me, no, but they're mine. If they're coming from the memory banks, they're mine. No, those are not yours either. Because those you picked up likely from your mother, your brother, your sister, your grandmother, from your ancestors, from the media, from your friends growing up, from the collective. They're not yours. But here's what's really cool about this. If you're experiencing them, they are your contribution. They are what you are here to clear. So your triggers, when you feel fear, when you feel doubt, when you feel insecurity, first of all, I want you to remember they're not yours. They're the collectives. They're what you inherited from, your ancestors. And that's an awesome thing because you can separate yourself from them. You don't have to be like, oh, I'm feeling fear. That means I am fearful, right? Making meaning about it. But you can also realize this is my contribution. In other words, if I am feeling fear, part of my work here as a leader, as a healer, as a guide is to break through this fear, because then there's going to be one less person in the collective being held back by fear. My contribution. How does that sound? How does that feel? And so these are just some of the ways that I twist triggers around. And then, of course, I give my students really practical ways to really start working with all the different individual triggers to really ground this. But just to recap, I want you to realize they're not yours, they're not based on fact, and it's what you're here to contribute and transform. And as you have fear, embrace it, love it, breathe it, because it's what you're here to let go of, so that you are the one that said, the buck stops with me, and I'm going to see fear without fear, and realizing it says nothing about me, and I'm here to transform it. How does that feel inside? So that's my whole little spiel around triggers today, and let's go talk about fraud, because I know this is a really big one for a lot of you. And so why are you feeling like a fraud? You're feeling like a fraud. Not because, oh, I'm not all together in every area of my life. Thanks for the heart's beautiful. You're not feeling like a fraud because of that. You're not feeling like a fraud. Hello, welcome, namaste, man. Good to see you. We're talking about triggers and feeling like a fraud on the leadership journey. And so here's what I really want you to get. I see so many leaders holding themselves back, coaches, teachers, guides, holding themselves back. I don't know, like I said before, if I know enough yet, or if I'm wise enough yet, or if I'm centered, or if I got myself together. And, I still tend to maybe drink a couple of glasses of wine here and there, too many, or maybe I still tend to overeat, or not exercise, or not meditate every morning, whatever it is for you. Not that you need to do any of these things. I'm just giving examples of what I hear people say. And you think you're a fraud. And so let's throw that out completely and look at this whole fraud thing from a new lens, a really super empowering lens. So Some of you may have heard me say this before because it's such an important topic every time I talk about fraud. One of the main reasons you're feeling like a fraud, emerging leaders say that all the time. We know that we are perfect in our imperfection, beautifully said. Yeah, exactly. You know that's one of my main messages of today. Now, what I've also realized around why we feel like a fraud is not because I'm not enough yet. When I really sunk down into it and felt into why I was feeling like a fraud and why my clients were feeling like frauds, I realized it wasn't because I wasn't ready enough for anything yet. It was actually because I wasn't living who I truly am. We're feeling like a fraud because we are literally like lying to ourselves. Amen, right? We're feeling like a fraud because we're walking around with these masks of insecurity and insufficiency. That's why we feel like a fraud. We're feeling like a fraud because we know we're here to be spiritual leaders and coaches and teachers and healers and guides, whatever name you relate to. And you're not living that role of spiritual teacher and guide that you know you're here to feel. That's why you feel like a fraud, because you're not living that. And you're living instead insufficiency, doubt, insecurity, self-judgment. Whatever your version, you're lying to yourself. You're not being honest with yourself. And the mask you're wearing isn't a mask of like disguising your fraudulent nature. The mask you're wearing is the mask of insufficiency. How's that for a twist? That's your mask. So here's to start really bringing this home for you guys. I want you to realize that those masks are self-concepts that you have to let go of. When we step into our purpose and share journey authentically, game on. Amen. Amen. Because when we share authentically and just show up, we have to be really present. And those masks of insufficiency and insecurity and all the self-concepts of limitation can't be present, right? I can't be thinking about those stuff being here present with you now, and it's such a gift. But we are innocently carrying around these self-concepts of I'm a procrastinator, I don't have what it takes, or I'm too shy. Those are your masks. Or I'm not evolved yet. So here to bring it home, here's a question for you. Who are you? Who would you be? Let's say one of the masks you wear is the mask of procrastinator. I never get it together. I'm always waiting till the last minute. Can you realize all them areas in your past that you started to pick up that mask and make that conclusion about yourself? I mean, I'm sure there's so many times where you've been on with things, but no, you don't remember those innocently because you're human. Who would you be without the concept of procrastinator? If you let that go right now, you know what? Yes, I've procrastinated in my life before. But who would I be today if I just let go of that mask? How can I play with my self-concept without that? Who am I? It's really, really huge. I'm the leader of great retreats starting 1 week from today. Amen. Ireland. Woo! Amazing. God, I would love to go to that. That would be amazing. Amen. That's who you are without any limiting self-concepts. Exactly. And so that's the really first thing that I wanted to say about this whole feeling like a fraud. You're feeling like a fraud because you're not knowing the great. You're not owning the great being you really are. And you have all these limiting self-concepts. And number two, you're feeling like a fraud. And here's the other main one that I wanted to mention today as we start to wrap up, is that your choices are honoring that old self-concept of you, rather than honoring the truth of who you are. I bet it did. I bet it took a lot of unlearning of self-concepts to get to where you are. Absolutely, by the way. So here you go. So the other reason, again, to repeat, is that your choices are not aligned, are not honoring your true self. And rather, your choices are based on this old limiting self-concept, on your masks, on these limiting masks, right? Rather than honoring the truth of who you are. But you are a gorgeous, thank you for inviting followers, you are a gorgeous, empowered, divine being who, if you realized what a gorgeous, divine, powerful being you are, you wouldn't trash yourself. Welcome, everyone. We're talking about feeling like a fraud in the path of leadership. Yes, yes, yes. Thanks for sharing, everyone. We're talking about feeling like a fraud in the path of leadership and how we've been feeling like a fraud, not because we're not ready, but because we've been owning the mask of not being good enough, insufficient. That's why you feel like a fraud. And also, number two, to recap, you're feeling like a fraud because your choices are honoring those masks of not being good enough, rather than being aligned with the divine, gorgeous being you are. You know, a divine, gorgeous, empowered goddess God doesn't trash themselves emotionally, physically, mentally. You know? And so for those of you that are doing the Birth Your Big Vision Challenge and are on the Facebook group, for example, I want to give this example. How many of you did yesterday's homework that was all about writing why we love ourselves so much as the person to bring through this vision? There's a lot of resistance to come up. A lot of people experience so much resistance in saying good things about themselves. Why? Because you're wearing this mask of not good enough. And you're honoring that. Someone who knows the beauty that we all are already is going to easily embrace an opportunity to talk beautifully about themselves and the glorious being. Just like you see a baby or someone you admire, how easy it is for you to honor them. And this is why you continue to feel like a fraud, because you're honoring old limiting self-concepts and trashing yourself mentally, physically, and emotionally for it, rather than honoring the divine being you are. And so that's the other reason why you feel like a fraud, because you're making choices for this false part of you, not who you are. Oh, I'm so glad. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Great to meet you. What's your name? So my name is Shirley, for those of you just joining, and I'm a spiritual leadership and soul purpose activation coach. And we are on day 3 of the Birth Your Big Vision Challenge, and we're talking about feeling like a fraud on the leadership journey. So I want you to just start realizing, I'm going to say one last time, and then we're going to dive into some quick and amazing homework assignments that are going to help you bring all this home. It's time to own that you're a master. It's time to own that you matter. It's time to own that you're a goddess, that you're a god. Hi, Sharon. Lovely to meet you. And it's time to start making the choices that are aligned with your truth, not with your false self. Amen. Amen. Absolutely. Fraud issues, totally. I said that earlier. You know, part of the reason we feel like a fraud is because we're actually not living our greatest purpose. You know, and people, invert that and they take that backward. No, I'm not a fraud, so I can't step into my greatest purpose. No. And I love that you said that, Gregory, because the exact same thing happened to me. That's when I realized. I'm like, oh my God, I was feeling like a fraud because I wasn't living as a spiritual teacher and God. Exactly. And all my choices in my life, not all my choices, but I was also having a lot of choices being made to honor that false, limited self, rather than honor the divine goddess that I am. And so it's time that we make our choices aligned with our greatness, not with our impulses that feel like it needs to help cope. Who are we to play small? You said it. You said it. So I want you to just start playing with this right now before I give you actual homework assignment. Just start playing with this with me right now. If you own your divinity, that you're a god, that you're a goddess, that you're like this brilliant, amazing, bright light, here with an important, quintessential message that only you can bring through, purpose that only you can do. If you own that right now, I want you to ask yourself a very simple question. How do you eat? If you know you are this radiant, important, super crucial missionary here to uplift and transform and bring beauty and good, how do you treat your body? You know, and I'm not telling you that you have to change your diet overnight, This is up-leveling baby steps. But the more you up-level in baby steps and take aligned choices more and more each day, that's how you gain your self-respect. Not when you think you have all the wisdom of the universe, committed to memory. You gain your self-respect when you start respecting yourself, and one little choice a day. So if I am this beautiful, radiant goddess, who do I hang out with? It doesn't mean I judge people. That just means I choose hang out with people who see my innocence and I see theirs. Why not? Makes it easier that way, right? How do I look at my body? Do I look at my body and look at every dot and, right? Or do I just be like, wow, you are just a radiant person, being, bright light, 20 pounds that you gained in awe, you know? How do I feel about my purpose? If I know I'm quintessential and I'm divine and beautiful and radiant and a goddess, how do I feel about my purpose? Well, most likely I'm going to be committed to taking a step each day towards it because it's important, it's crucial, not doubting myself. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So, having said that, let's just bring it home. Also, if you're living as the moment, it's hard to feel anything but bliss. Oh, beautiful words, absolutely. Absolutely. It's only really when we get out of the moment and get all caught up in thinking that we forget the bliss that's always here. 1000%. Hi, Leslie. Thanks for inviting followers, beautiful. So, okay, let's wrap it up and give you some homework assignment to bring this home. Easier said than done, yes, and we're all on this journey, and the more we look in this direction and the more we breathe and slow ourselves down and remember our radiance and choose to go from there, the more we do. And it's a journey. Awakening happens every moment that I come back and I remember, oh, I'm awakening. Not, some destination on the way. The more we do, the more we look. And the more easier it'll be to catch ourselves when we're not, when we're asleep, when we're caught up in the dream, rather than realize, I'm just the dream. So, okay, homework assignment. I have 3 beautiful, powerful questions for you to really meditate on, whether for 2 minutes or 20. Hello, hello, hello. Is that? Hello, Wilson Will. Hello. Yes, yes, yes. It is. It is. So, okay, homework number 1. To ground all this around triggers and self-mastery. Question. And I'm all about empowering questions that help inspire this stuff. So, question number 1. If I let all self-concepts that have been limiting go, who am I? This is a question to continue to ask yourself. If I let all self-concepts go, even the ones that sound good, they might even be limiting you. Isn't that interesting? But just play with this. If I let all self-concepts go, who am I? Play with this question. How are you beautiful? Here's another one for you. How are you beautiful, wise, honorable, divine? So that's number 1, to be pondered and looking. Rather than becoming an expert of your problems, I always call myself a recovery psychologist, right? Rather than becoming an expert on our problems, let's become an expert on our lights and redirect our attention here. So question number 2. With this new self-concept, right? So we are here with this new self-concept. What are my highest intentions for, I'm going to bring 2 areas. My self-care, right? With this new self-concept of me and my greatness as a great being. What are my highest intentions for my self-care? Well, maybe my highest intentions might be to be radiant and healthy, right? That might be around my highest intentions for my self-care. And the second area, what are my highest intentions around birthing my biggest vision, stepping into my role as a leader, living my divine purpose? And that might be, my highest intention might be to just be a change maker, an agent of inspiration and love, whatever. It's going to differ for all of you. That's the second question. With this new self-concept, what are my highest intentions around self-care and my purpose? And number 3, each day, perhaps you ask yourself this in the morning, and perhaps you ask yourself this throughout the day many times, but each day and each moment, I want you to then ask yourself, when you're about to make a choice, whether it's a choice about what you're going to eat or what you're going to do around work, today, whatever, simple question. Is this choice contributing to my highest intention or not? Is this choice contributing to my highest intention around my self-care? Or is this choice contributing to my highest intention around my purpose? And that's going to be one of the quickest and easiest, fastest ways to come back. Oh my God, it's so not out. You are based on that mask of insecurity, insufficiency. You're out of here. What is my highest choice in this moment? And it's going to be a really empowered choice because it's going to come from that highest intention of your soul. Yes, it is great. So that, my dear, beautiful souls, is today's lesson, day 3 from the Birth Your Big Vision Challenge. Again, for those of you that joined late, my name is Shirley Joy Weiss, and I'm a spiritual leadership and soul purpose activation coach. Awesome. And this is day 3 of a 7-day challenge to really help you step into a greater purpose and know yourself in a deeper way and birth a big vision. And if you haven't signed up for the vision, you can just go to my Periscope bio, and there's a link, and it's completely free, and it's 7 magnificent days of just as empowering lessons as this. And just doing these actions, these questions, one day at a time, it's going to remind you who you truly are. And I guarantee you, remember what I said in the beginning of today's lesson, these lessons are designed, awesome, glad you will, these lessons, these questions, they're really powerful. They seem simple, but they're designed to start helping do all that unlearning that keeps you from knowing your greatness so that you can be, embody, radiate your true divine being more and more each day. And when you're doing that more and more each day, not getting out with your greatest work with a big vision is not even going to be a choice. You're just going to do it. And you're going to realize you're not a fraud. And it's holding back and kept you fraud. And you're going to learn how to stay composed and centered and resilient throughout. And so, of course, I teach so much more around staying composed, around triggers, around others and people, so that you really continue and be more and more each day a radiant presence of love, and I teach some really magnificent things on how to get over those habits, so those really sticky ones, if you have those really self-destructive habits, perhaps around eating or exercise and self-care. And so continue to join us if you're interested in learning more. In the meantime, I'm saying sayonara for the night. I love you all. Such a pleasure to be with all of you. And come back to me tomorrow for day 4 when we're going to talk about your message and what you're here to bring. And this is going to be good whether you know what your message is or not. So I'm going to help you discover just how much you probably already have a message and don't even realize it. You're so welcome, everyone. You're so welcome. Come back. Join us again. I love you all. Till next time, namaste, beautiful people. You are the light. I see you.